Good evening. Welcome to Epiphany Vet Talk Show. My name is Dr. Clara Sibo, and with me I have
Dr. Ido Juliana.
This is our first episode of our talk show. Today we'll be discussing about brooding made easy in poultry. So if you're a poultry farmer or you are thinking of starting a poultry farm, this is for you. Listen closely. We're going to be talking about various insights that will help you raise your day-old chicks from day-old to about 4 weeks old. So you know what brooding is, if you'll be doing your brooding well, and what next after brooding, step by step. So the first question we have is, what is brooding exactly? We've been hearing about brooding, and like it's one of the fundamental parts of having a poultry farm. What is brooding?
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Clara. Brooding is actually the care and management that is given to poultry, to birds, when from day old till they get to about 3 to 4 weeks. Generally, day old chick birds actually do not have feathers. And
they are born featherless.
They are born featherless. And because of that, they can actually not regulate their own temperature. So they actually need an external source of heat and care in order to be able to survive and reduce mortality rate. So that is why we actually need brooding. We can take our local hen as a typical example. When our local hen lays egg, they incubate it for about 21 days.
By sitting on it and covering.
Exactly, they sit on it and they cover it. That is the incubation period. And after 21 days, they hatch the egg. And then the chicks come out. When the chicks are out, they are actually featherless. They do not possess
feathers.
And because of this, they can actually not regulate their own body temperature. So they need warmth, they need warmth, care, and all of that. And that is why the maternal instinct sets in immediately from the mother. She begins to use her feather to cover her chicks.
So that's a source of heat to the chicks.
Yes, that's where she's providing heat for the chick. So the heat, the warmth, and everything. So generally, that's what brooding is all about. It refers to the care, the warmth, and the feeding, and every other thing that is being given from day old till when they get to about 3 to 4 weeks, when they can actually regulate their body temperature.
So since now we are getting these chicks from the hatchery, we're not getting them with their mother.
Yes.
So what does brooding now mean to us?
Yes.
Poultry farmers now, what does brooding now mean to us?
Brooding for farmers. That is why when you buy these birds from day old, when you take them to your farm, you need to provide warmth and a source of heat to them, because the hatchers have taken them away from their mother that can actually give them that
will help them regulate their temperature.
So you need to provide an artificial source of heat for them, basically.
So what kind of source of heat can we give? Examples of them?
Yes, there are different types of heat source farmers make use of. For small scale farmers, they normally use these charcoal pots in which they will put charcoal and set the fire and they light up the room. Sometimes they make use of this bulb, colored bulb. It emits heat. So they make use of that for low scale farmers. But big scale farmers, if I can use that word, they make use of gas brooder. There is something called gas brooder. All you have to do is connect it's just like a lamp. All you have to do is connect it to the gas cylinder and it will be emitting heat.
That's for larger scale.
Okay.
But for smaller scale, you can use charcoal and you can use the light. Okay, Bob. Okay, thank you very much. So we know what brooding is, and essentially it just means us providing heat, temperature for the birds, so that because they're no longer in an environment where their mother can do that for them, because they are born featherless. So that we can help them regulate their heating. That's what majorly brooding is. Thank you very much. So now, since we know what brooding is, how do we now prepare? As a poultry farmer now, how does a poultry farmer prepare for brooding?
Okay.
I want to get chicks. I want to go to poultry farm. How do one prepare for that?
Okay. The first step you have to take as a farmer is you have to take, for example, you've used that brooding pen before, you have to clear up the manure or litter that has been used previously before after selling off your birds. So after clearing that litter material off, the next step for you to do is to disinfect your brooding pen. You disinfect your brooding pen using a very strong disinfectant, such as there are different disinfectants that can actually be used. You can use glutaraldehyde, you can use formaldehyde, you can use
They are bringing up the big names for us. So the best thing to do is, if you want to get disinfectant, just come and talk to your vet. We'll give you the best one for your farm.
Yes. Okay. Beautiful. So you can use all of that. This will help to actually kill or reduce the viral and bacterial load within the brooding pen. So when you do that, the next step to take is to cover up your brooding pen with tarpaulin. We are doing this because when your birds arrive and you heat up the room, we want to retain the heat within the brooding pen. We wouldn't want the heat to dissipate out. We want all the heat to be within the brooding pen so the birds can be heated up. So you cover up your brooding pen with tarpaulin. After covering up your brooding pen with tarpaulin, say a few days to the arrival of your day-old chick, you pour down your litter material on the floor. There are different types of litter material that can actually be used. Wood shaving, you can use your rice husks or your beans husks, but we always recommend you use wood shaving.
Wood shavings.
Yes, and we do not recommend you use sawdust as most farmers use. This is because it predisposes the birds to some respiratory tract,
because they're going to be inhaling it, and sawdust are like very fine particles.
Exactly.
So it's easy for the birds to inhale, and before they have lots of respiratory diseases. So so
you arrange your litter material, whatever litter material you might have chosen to use. Then after that, you make arrangements for the type of heat source you would want to use. So depending on the type of source you want to use, depending on the quantity of your birds, actually, you make a decision and you prepare them ahead of the arrival of your birds. 1 day to the arrival of your birds, you arrange your drinkers, you arrange your feeder, set them at the different positioning. So you can just wait for the arrival of your birds, and when they come, you can give them water and food.
Okay, thank you very much. So we have heard that the most important thing is the temperature. They need that heat. Make sure that the place is disinfected. You have to disinfect the place very well to avoid having infections that are already in the pen affect your new birds. Then cover up with tarpaulin so that the heat is retained. It doesn't dissipate out. Then the type of litter you put on the ground is also very, very important. Then get your drinkers, your feeders that are already thoroughly cleaned, washed, disinfected, clean for your new birds. Thank you. So what are those key things that we must provide? The key things. I know you have talked about warmth, talked about the litter, talked about the tarpaulin. What other things do we need that is very important for them?
Okay, thank you, Doc. One of the most important things that is needed actually is the temperature we've always been hitting on. So doing brooding, which normally takes about 2 to 4 weeks in most case scenarios, you need a brooding temperature of about 32 to 35 degrees Celsius as a farmer. It needs to be adequate enough to be able to heat up the birds and take care of the warmth. So you need a temperature, and we always advise that farmers get something called a brooding thermometer. It helps them to keep check of the temperature. Is it too high? Is it too low? Is it adequate? Because if it is actually not adequate, there are some things that can actually happen to the birds. You can start having high rates of mortality. Your birds can start coming down with tonsillitis, which can lead to mortality.
And that's what we don't want. We want them to grow well and so we have profits from them. Okay.
So that's one. You need the right temperature. 2, you also need the right feed. Doing brooding, you need to feed your birds well. Depending on the type of bird, you might want to stock either the broiler, which is for meat consumption, or the pullet, which will later be kept for laying, for egg production. They have different feed requirements during that brooding period. For the first week, you might need to start with super starter for your broilers, but for the pullets they need just less percentage of protein. So you might want to start with chick mash for them. So they actually, you need to provide the right type of food for them in order for them to grow and hit the expected target weight at the right time for you to make more profit as a farmer. The third thing you need as a farmer during this brooding stage is good source of water. You need the right clean water. Birds need to have access to water. Clean water 24/7.
Ad lib.
Actually, this will help them to digest their feed more, and also they will, as they are digesting their feed more, they are eating more, and they will be able to hit the target weight at the expected time. The fourth thing you also need to provide as a farmer is ventilation during this period. Yes, you need cross ventilation to prevent ammonia buildup within the pen.
In as much we are saying we want the heat, retain the heat, ventilation is also very important.
Yes, to prevent ammonia buildup.
Okay, thank you. So we have talked about what brooding is, talk about what we should do to ensure that we have good brooding. How do I know as a farmer that I'm doing the right thing, that my brooding is correct? And how do I know that, oh, I'm doing something wrong? How do you know when your birds are having a good brooding system?
Okay, like we said earlier, we always advise farmers to get thermometer to always keep them in check. Okay, so even as a farmer, you would know when your birds are actually having the right temperature, or when they are not, or when they are being stressed. So the first thing you are going to observe if your birds are having too low temperature is they will be huddling together. When you enter into your pen, you observe your day-old chick and you see them huddling together. What this means is you see them drawing close to each other. It means the temperature within the brooding room is actually not enough for them. Yes, so what you have to do during that period is to increase the temperature. If you are a large-scale farmer, depending on the type of brooding method you are using, just increase the temperature. Even on a small-scale farmer, whatever method you are using, increase the temperature. Then, if you notice your birds are panting or running away from your source of heat, the source of heat can either be your brooding gas, your charcoal, or your lamp or bulb. So whatever source of heat you are using, if they are running away from it,
means it's too hot.
It's too hot.
Telling you it's too hot.
Exactly, it's too hot. So it means the temperature is too much. You have to reduce the temperature within the brooding pen. And lastly, another sign you are going to see to show that your birds are having the right temperature during brooding is the fact that they will be evenly distributed within the pen.
Eating, some will be drinking, just be living the life. So you know that you are doing something right.
Yes, temperature is accurate at that period.
Thank you very much. So if you have any questions you want to ask, you're not sure of something, you can put it on the comment section below. We'll make sure that we'll get to each of the questions. So we have been talking about brooding now with Dr. Juliana Idowu. We have learned what brooding is, that these birds are born featherless. They don't have any feathers, so they cannot regulate their own temperature. Normally, if it's just the local birds that we have around, their mothers are always there to cover them up and help them do that. But since we are taking them away from that environment and we are putting them in our own system, we have to be the one to regulate their temperature. We have to be the one that will give them the correct food to eat. We're not going to give them the correct water to drink, their right amount, the shavings, the environment, everything. So that is what brooding entails in its all entirety. We have learned the correct temperatures you're supposed to have. We have learned types of heat source we can use, like charcoal, light bulb, the gas home for the big company. We have learned the amount of time they need to stay for them to brood completely. We have learned so many things as we have been going. We have also learned that before you even bring your birds come into the pen, that is where you want to put it, you have to disinfect the place thoroughly so that any remnant or virus or bacterial load that is there will be killed off completely. And that is about 2 weeks before you bring in the birds. So before you even start saying you're bringing in your birds, you have to start doing your planning for 2 weeks back, not just I want to buy birds today, then tomorrow you go and buy, you just go and disinfect the place and buy birds tomorrow. No. from 2 weeks before, you are already taking these steps. You are disinfecting, you are using the trampoline, you are buying not sawdust, so wood shavings or ripe hogs, being horse, but with advice wood shavings, because that's the best one to use, and it also helps in absorbing the manure from from the beds. You are already putting the wood shavings, you are getting your drinkers, your feeders, you are cleaning them adequately, and you lay them down for your beds to have easy access to them evenly. And you also make sure that there's cross ventilations in preparation for your beds. When you bring them in, you make sure that they have their charcoal as any heat source you want, and you wash them well. You are watching them from day 1, day 2, day 3 till when they are ready to leave the brooding place. And one thing we should know again is that it's not just about just this again. They have various medications, various vaccinations that they should take at appointed times, even at this breeding stage. So that's why it's very important to have a veterinarian when you're having any farm at all. Have a vet by your side so they can give you, the schedule for their vaccinations and treatments. Sometimes the hatcheries that you buy your chicks from, they give you have a schedule. This is a schedule that we follow. So it's very important to have a veterinarian that can teach you the right thing to do and put you in the right direction. So we have learned all that to make sure that our birds, grow, eat well, and attain the correct weight we want at a particular time. So we have another question here. Now I've learned all this, we know all this now. So when is it time to stop brooding? When is the right time to stop brooding? And after brooding, what is next?
Okay, so for a farmer to know the right time to actually stop brooding, it actually depends on the weather condition during that period he's brooding his birds. Like for dry seasons, brooding actually takes shorter time. Yes, and for rainy season, brooding actually takes longer periods, and that is because sometimes during rainy season, in the morning the weather is cold, in the evening the weather is cold, so you might need to heat up the brooding room. But generally, about 2 to 4 weeks, the brooding
done with brooding.
Exactly, because by 2 to 4 weeks, the bird would have started bringing out feathers, and they would have started regulating their own body
by themselves. Okay. Exactly. So during rainy season, because of how cold the weather will be, the birds will have to have a prolonged brooding period. But during dry season, when there's going to be a lot of heat, everywhere is hot, even wind, that, it's so hot, it's so hot, it's so hot. The brooding will not go take up to 3 weeks, sometimes it can be 1 to 2 weeks. So brooding essentially is because they cannot regulate their temperature. So by the end of 2, 3, 4 weeks, most birds already have feathers. So meaning they don't need the heat any longer. So meaning by themselves, they can regulate their temperature. They are free to now move from brooding. So after brooding, what's the next phase?
There are 3 types of pen a farmer should own. We have the brooding room, we have the growing room, and the finisher room. So when you are done with brooding in your brooding room, you then move your birds to the grower room. Exactly. That's where you change their feed to whatever food you might want to change it to.
Thank you very much. I'm sure we have learned a lot as poultry farmers and those that are thinking of becoming poultry farmers. As we all know, that poultry is it's very lucrative. Thank you. It's very lucrative. So if you have the correct tips, the correct points to use on how to grow your best, it starts from the foundation, and brooding is the foundation. So if you have the right tips to use to brood your best, you are going to be very successful in poultry farming. So this is where we have to come to an end for today's section. We always going to be doing this every Friday to come and have a discussion one-on-one with our customers, our viewers all over the world. So we're going to be having this talk show every Friday from 4 to 4:20 p.m. so we can help our livestock, our pets, just have a healthier and better lifestyle. So until we see you again next week, I hope you enjoyed today's topic. And once again, if you have any comments, if you have any questions you want to ask, you can ask in the comment section, and we'll make sure we attend to every question. Thank you. So see you next week, Friday, by 4 to 4:20 p.m. Bye-bye.